The sound of the Gion Shoujo bells echoes the impermanence of all things. The color of the Sala flowers reveals the truth that the prosperous must decline. The proud do not endure. They are like a dream on a spring night. The mighty fall, at last, they are as dust before the wind. These are the first lines of the Heike Monogatari, both a Japanese literary classic and a historical account. In Japan, these lines are comparable to... I don't know what an English equivalent is. They're so well known in Japanese culture, even Todo knows them. And they encapsulate the main theme of Heike Monogatari: impermanence, or if you want to use the Japanese phrase, shogyo mujo. Compared to normal impermanence, just mujo, shogyo mujo is used more in a spiritual context, implying ideas of creation and destruction, and the dichotomy between the impermanence of worldly things and eternity reached through enlightenment. As literature, the Heike Monogatari is a story that embodies shogyo mujo, and as a historical account, it recounts the rule of the Heike, also known as the Taira clan. That is, up to the defeat in the Genpei War to the Genji, also known as the Minamoto clan. Now, of course, not many people who speak English know about Japanese history because they're too busy learning about the civil rights movement or something. I doubt many Japanese people learned that in history class. The anime for Heike Monogatari was made with a Japanese audience who already taught or at least had some idea of the story in mind. Meaning, if you watched this show in 2021, i.e. myself, you probably had no idea what the hell was going on. Understandably, a lot of people are confused about this. After all, what's the point of an adaptation that expects you to have read source material? Imagine if you could only watch Chainsaw Man if you had already read the manga. That would suck because you can't read. So, a lot of people skipped Heike Monogatari for that reason. But what if I told you, you don't actually have to know the story? You don't even have to get what's going on. Because the point of this anime isn't to retell the story of Heike. I don't think the Heike story would have been as good an adaptation if it simply retold the original narrative anyway, even if somehow it could within 11 episodes. Instead of simply adapting the story, they created a work that embodies the soul of the original, impermanence. This can be seen in the flat colors that reflect the mood and draw your eyes in, as well as in the simple shapes and lines that reveal each character's disposition. The leader of the Heike, Kiyomori, and the Emperor both have round heads as monks, but with Kiyomori, his square jaw and round eyes reflect his rigid temper and avarice, along with his playfulness. While the Emperor Go Shirakawa's thinner face accentuates his forehead, making him come off as intelligent with his defined lack of eyebrows reflecting his expressiveness. The colors, the lighting, and the way the characters are depicted, it's all very impressionistic. And that's intentional. After all, impressions don't last forever. They're a reaction to something. They're momentary. They're impermanent. The point of the story isn't to faithfully retell the Heike story, but to create an impression of it. This can also be seen in the anime original main character, Biwa. Named after the instrument that was traditionally used to pass down the story of Heike, as most people didn't know how to read or write back then. This is why Biwa has the power to see into the future. She represents those who tell the story of Heike through the Biwa. The instrument's main role when telling the story was to set the mood. There's a scene in the show where Biwa and the eldest son of the leader of the Heike, Shigemori, have a conversation. Shigemori is the only one who has power similar to Biwa, but instead of being able to see the future, he can see the souls of the dead. Shigemori, thinking about his fear of the dark, asks Biwa what frightens her. Biwa says she fears the future. Shigemori, perhaps feeling understood, comes to a realization. Though the dark and the future may be frightening, this present moment is beautiful. This conversation simultaneously conveys the point of the anime and embodies it. The anime is not presented as scenes or events, but through moments. Character dialogue is never made to seem like it's for the sake of the viewer. Any exposition is framed as discussions between people. The time between some scenes can span months and even years. You see people grow and seasons change. You never feel like you are being told a story. Instead, you are experiencing fleeting moments. You may be thinking I'm insane for telling you you don't have to get what's going on in a story to enjoy it. But look, first of all, there's a reason why Fooly Cooly has a cult following. Second of all, well, the cool thing about this anime is it actually gives you enough information to get what's going on. You'll just have to pause and rewind it a few times as names are mentioned out of nowhere and things are just talked about that you never actually get to see happen. This is how I experienced the anime, and I kind of agree with you, as I don't think I would have been able to appreciate it as much as I did if I didn't make an effort to figure out what the hell was going on. But if you don't completely get what's going on, all I'm saying is, that's okay. Also, if you didn't realize, I also not so subtly gave you the bare minimum amount of context needed to watch the show. The leader of the Heike,